Blog Talk Radio.
Namaste, folks. It's Nature of Reality Radio on October 29th, 2014. This is your host, Andrew Fisher, broadcasting every Wednesday from the suburbs of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to expose the true and false nature of reality for what it is and what it isn't. Let me start off by saying I am doing the show under the weather. You might hear a little sniffling, a little coughing, and maybe a few nose blows here and there. But I'm just going to suck it up and work through this. Get a little common cold keep me from exposing the nature of reality for what it is and what it isn't. And with that being said, on the show today, for the first time since I had that show with Laura Eisenhower and Dr. Dream, I will be having a duo on the show, John Thompson and Prema Lia. Thompson, I met at the recent MUFON symposium in Cherry Hill when he was a vendor there, and actually I don't remember if Prema was there. I guess I'll ask her that when she gets on the show to see if she was. We're going to be discussing holistics, Orgone energy, how to show respect for Mother Earth in general, ways of increasing your spirituality. John's site is mother-earth-orgone.com, and Prema's site is Prema, that's Prema Lia, that's spelled LIA.com. I'll be alternating with them throughout the show, taking one question each, alternating just like I did with Laura and Dr. Dream when they were on. I'll start with Prema, because ladies first. That's the way we do things here on Mother Earth. Ladies first. It's perfect etiquette there. I do have someone in the caller queue right now, area code 360, not exactly sure which one that is. I will let them on at 10 after the hour at the absolute latest. But first, we are going to do... Well, actually, first of all, John Thompson did send me this thing for this event that happened on September 22nd and 23rd in Glendale, California, which has a little bit of a description for him. It says, in this empowering workshop, Energy Master John Thompson will share a powerful collection of health and healing tools, including Mother Earth Orgone, Breath of Fire, Kombucha Mushroom Tea, Quantum Touch for Health, Quantum Reflexology, and the Fountain of Youth. John's exploration of energy and health began in 1976 when he took the first of 17 trips to investigate the magical, mystical land of India. During the past 38 years, he has spent time with and learned from the most profound avatars and saints on planet Earth. Magical, mystical land of India. Okay, when I had Alan Steinfeld on my show, he told me that India is anything but magical and mystical. It's like a dump there. Everybody's poor. Everybody's suffering. I mean, you think of it as a spiritual place and all, but in reality, it's... Well, he says there's some spirituality stuff there. Alan Steinfeld did, but he said in general it's a pretty unpleasant country to live in, and it's somewhat a little overcrowded, you might say. Well, the world isn't overcrowded at all. You can fit the entire population. Well, the official population of 7 billion. It's actually more like 50 billion, according to Akashic Records reader Andrew Bartz is my favorite source. But 7 billion people could easily fit in the state of Texas with room to spare. Give them about an acre of land each or something like that. And India, it's got about 1.3 billion people in there. It's set to surpass China at some point. And, well, not exactly sure why the population's so big there, but it's I'd like to talk to John about his experiences there, see if maybe he experienced things other than Alan. So it says here, you will be amazed when you experience the impacts of Mother Earth Orgone energizers, which immediately increase strength and balance while protecting against the negative effects of EMFs from cell phones, cell towers, electrical stations, computers, televisions, microwaves, etc. That's something we'll definitely be talking about on this show. Electromagnetic frequencies, is that what EMF stands for? I'll get clarification on that from John shortly. You will learn how to bring quantum reflexology and touch for health into your daily life with empowering results. That's the event description. Hope you'll learn something from that. We'll try to discuss those topics. But for now, let's start with the news, courtesy of Alex Jones and Company at InfoWars. First article. A lot of Ebola articles, so what else is new? Well, rightfully so. It's a very deadly disease. Makes you cry blood, literally. First article here. The Ebola story doesn't smell right. The only intelligent and responsible policy is to stop all commercial flights to and from Ebola areas. Well, if there is a plot to depopulate the earth and make people sick, and a lot of Illuminati factions do want to do that, depopulate the earth by at least 80%, and by God, 80% is a very conservative estimate. You can imagine they would use Ebola to do it. By the way, on the Mr. Cat Eye YouTube channel, that's MRCATI, Mr. Cat Eye, there's a series of videos about the Georgia Guidestones where Ebola is implied. It's pretty compelling, and even Andrew Bartz has said he recommends people watch it, so you might want to check that out. It talks about a lot of significant things in this time, and Ebola is one of them, and the Georgia Guidestones apparently might be part of that, and Ebola might be part of that conspiracy on the Georgia Guidestones. Keep Earth in balance, 500,000 people, 500,000 people on the Earth. I'll make it that whatever you will. But next article, cop threatens dancers with felony arrest for dancing. The town's heavy-handed crackdown sets party organizers back $15,000. Where were they dancing? Not exactly sure what the details are here. Felony arrest for dancing. Well, how can a crime be well, first of all, there is no crime unless you cause a corpus delicti, a body of a crime. If there is no harm or intent to cause harm through either negligence or deliberate intent, then if there is none of that, then there is no crime. There has to be harm through either physical or non-physical harm through either negligence or deliberate intent for there to be a crime. And felonies, well, you want to learn how to make a crime a felony and how to make it a misdemeanor, check out my radio show interview with Randy Kelton. That's one thing we discussed there. But next article here, cop goes nuts when told God bless you. Talking to police officers now an arrestable offense. Yes, there should be no reason why walking down the street and saying how you doing to a cop or something like that, a simple hello, should get the cop riled up. It seems like cops are being taught, even the good cops are being taught, if anybody says something to you, treat them like they're a crook and say, why are you talking to me? Well, you're my servant. Why not talk to you, officer? So, and now they're going to go nuts when you say God bless you. And by the way, Mark Passio did a presentation at the 2011 Free Your Mind Conference. You can find this on YouTube, Occult Mockery of Police and Military Personnel. The badges and the clothing and even the lights on an officer's car, the fact that they're red and blue, there's a significance there. Their badges, the shape of the badges and everything, and checkerboards around the hats of certain police departments, that affects them. That's symbolism, negative symbolism. That will affect them at a subconscious level to make them behave badly. Yeah, very intriguing article. And if we remove those off the cops, those badges and those certain uniforms and things that they're wearing that affect them at a subliminal subconscious level, I'm sure they'll start behaving a little better. Our next article, CDC Ebola spreads like flu. The CDC says Ebola is spreading like the flu. Coughing, sneezing, spread of Ebola, flu nearly identical according to CDC documents. Yes, it's becoming more and more contagious. Apparently it was synthesized in a government lab as a biological weapon in Africa, to just like the AIDS virus. And now they're going to use it for evil purposes, and it's more contagious. That's all the more evidence that it's more contagious than it used to be, that it was tampered with in some biological lab as a weapon. Government-owned. All right, next article. Government drone stalks activists protesting Ebola response. In a world where tyranny is the disease, liberty is the cure. Yes, the drone is stalking. Those drones are not about keeping us safe. They're about harassing, intimidating, and spying on people to blackmail them and keep them from stepping out of line. Sorry for the cough. I get a common cold here. Hope I don't have Ebola. Nah, it's just a common cold. So we got to get rid of those drones, folks. Our next article, retaliation. Feds launch new land grab targeting the Bundy family. The Battle of Bunkerville 2. Bureau of Land Management to declare 1.8 million acres environmental protection zone. Anything that's owned by the government is owned by the people. That is federal land that he's on. He is entitled to graze his cattle there. We all remember that whole thing with Bundy and the way that people marched towards the police. It was like Lexington and Concord all over again. Now they're harassing them again, probably as payback or something. Our next article, students suspended over Pelican Facebook photo. Parents say punishment violates First Amendment as image was taken from home. It doesn't matter how old you are, folks. There's that unwritten rule saying that minors have fewer rights than adults is a lie. We're all children of the Creator. The Creator, also known as God, Source, or Infinite Consciousness, is the only entity that can grant rights. And we're all children of the Creator no matter what our age is. Therefore, people under age 18 have the same rights as people over age 18. So for schools to violate rights is unheard of and it's uncalled for, excuse me. It's not unheard of, it's uncalled for, and it's intolerable and not allowed, although I will say parents do have some leeway in taking away rights from their children in the event that taking away rights is necessary and the totality of the circumstance requires it be done for the development of the kid. But they're doing this, suspending a student over a Pelican photo, intolerable. Next article, last article, by the way. Will Obama ship more Ebola into the U.S.? Well, the answer is yes. No doubt he's a puppet, so he's in on the conspiracy. The New World Order is behind it. He's a puppet of the New World Order. He's definitely in on the conspiracy to ship Ebola into the U.S. What is driving the Obama administration's recklessness? He is a puppet of a New World Order, Illuminati bloodline consortium of mega bank secret societies and corporations who want to depopulate the earth and such, so they use Ebola. That's what that's all about. So let's see who's in the queue here. Still area code 360. Area code 360, you are on the air.
Hi, Andrew. This is Prema Lia Thompson. How are you?
Oh, great. Is John coming on shortly?
He's right here.
Oh, you're
I'm
both
here.
on the same line. Oh, you're both on the same line. I thought I'd see two different numbers. It's great to have you on. And of course, I'm going to have to alternate between you. And I said I'd start with Prema because ladies first. That's the proper etiquette here on the feminine energy dominant planet of Mother Earth. So, by the way, did I meet you guys both at the MUFON symposium, or was it just John that I spoke to?
It was just John there.
Yeah, I got his card.
I have such a large presence that I seem like two people sometimes.
Right. Well, first time in a while I've had two people on, and I look forward to it. Means less talking time to each of you because I give all my guests 2 hours, but for all practical purposes, you're only going to get an hour each. So I think the best way to do this, you guys cover a lot of stuff. Let's try to cover a lot of subjects, but let's try to do it on the fly so we can get as many things in as possible. So, Prema, I guess I'll start with you. I would like to just give me a moment here to get your site up so I can use your website as a guide. Mother Earth Orgone. Well, I guess we might as well start with Orgone. What is Orgone? It wasn't that long ago when I saw that word, and I'm thinking, I'm drawing a blank. What does this word mean? I've been told what it means, but for some reason I'm drawing a blank.
John is real good on the background with Orgone, and I can do some inserts for the negative effects. But John, do you want to share this with Andrew?
Sure. Andrew, basically, Orgone is another name for universal energy. It's known as prana, chi, ki, the energy of the universe that doesn't follow all the other known rules of science. This is why when Dr. Reich first introduced it and it surfaced, it opened itself up as a whole new avenue for the world of a whole variety of scientific fields. It's positive energy. In other words, you can say the energy of trees, the ocean. Those are generators of Orgone or positive energy. Then you have the negative energy generated by cell phones, microwaves, computers, TVs, all of the appliances that are creating waves are creating negative energy or EMFs, electromagnetic fields.
Okay, well, I'd like to talk about that for a little bit. The whole thing about electronics causing negative energy of sorts. I mean, how do you protect yourself from this? The whole thing about, we all know about the NSA surveillance system. There are some appliances that you can't keep them from spying or listening to you, but there are some appliances where it is possible maybe to remove something, but maybe if you could get into whether or not it's the NSA device that would cause the negative energy, if they're part of that conspiracy, and in general the energies that come from electronics. Why don't you elaborate on this? And Prema, you can give your take on on this subject. You got the floor. This is sort of an important thing to discuss.
Well, a crucial thing for me is continually being physically in contact with a generator of positive energies, which is what we do with the Mother Earth Orgone products. That's why you either wear one or carry one continually, and it's going to turn the negative EMFs into positive. This is why when I met you at MUFON, we did a muscle balance test where you stood on one leg and we tested your strength and balance when you had Orgone on versus when you didn't. And if you remember, there was a huge difference in that you were dramatically stronger and better balanced physically just by holding an Orgone energy generator. And the same thing happens for protecting your brain and basically the aspects of the body that are most negatively impacted by electromagnetic fields are the eyes and the pineal gland. The pineal gland is such an important part of our human body. It controls the hormones. It controls the melatonin that goes toward creating sleep or non-sleep, depending on how much melatonin you have. And that's also hit directly by EMFs from all the cell phones, microwaves, computers. So people basically, unless a person is in the middle of a forest without their cell phone, or in the middle of the ocean without their cell phone or other EMFs, we are constantly surrounded by negative energy. And that's why people sleep less well today than they used to 30, 40 years ago, before there was this proliferation of waves from every device imaginable.
Right. Well, question about that. Whenever I go to sleep, I always try to turn off all my phones and and everything. However, on the computer, I leave the computer on, and if it's really cold out, if it's the spring or the summer, I don't have to do this, but if it's cold out, I like to have like an 8-hour video on YouTube that either has like campfire sounds, nature sounds, rain sounds to help you sleep. Now, some people would say, no, that's not really in your best interest to do that because the negative energy from the computer will be affecting you simply because you're giving your attention to that in the sense because you're trying to get that to help you sleep. So could you maybe elaborate on whether or not that's a good or bad idea?
Yes, I'd like to, if I may. When John and I are out at events and I hear of ones having their computer in their room or a cell phone next to them, I always encourage them not to keep your cell phone in the same room. You know, keep your cell phone in another room if you have to have it on a charger. Have a clock, but not too close to you because of the pineal gland that's located between the two hemispheres of the brain that produces the melatonin to help us sleep. And then also for computers, as you mentioned, you have this for yourself. You can always keep a computer in your next room with speakers and turn your speakers up just high enough so that you can hear, you know, the music to help you rest and go sleep or go into deeper levels. So it's not a good idea to keep any kind of computer or cell phone in your room. It should be, if you do have it as a workstation, as a desk, I would suggest to unplug it and cover it with a towel. Or if some people need a TV, unplug your TV and cover it with a towel so that it's not connected to the socket so it doesn't continue putting out those negative waves and preventing you from sleep. So again, no cell phone. Have a clock nearby that you can just plug in the wall, but it's not a cell phone. No computers or TV, but if you must have those appliances in your room, keep them as far away as possible. Unplug them at night and put a towel over it. And Spirit has taught me, when with our televisions, even in the living room, to cover it with a towel and unplug it at night. And these are things that I've not read about, but just as Spirit has taught me for many years. Like 20 years ago, Spirit told me, put a towel over the TV and unplug it at night before the cell phones even became popular, where everyone has one. I was told this years ago just about our television. So,
one thing I will add on that topic is that I highly recommend, Andrew, that you put a Mother Earth Orgone generator on your computer that will definitely turn the negative energies into positive.
Thanks. I'll look into that, and I can confirm, I do remember you doing all those experiments on me at the MUFON Symposium, and yes, there was a difference when I had the Orgone on me, and so that's not magic, that's pure metaphysics. But let's move on to another subject here. I put this in the description, so I might as well discuss it. Showing respect for Mother Earth. Well, there's a lot of ways to do this. I mean, at its most basic level, don't litter, don't pollute. If you see garbage on the ground, pick it up and do gardening, walk through nature and all that, and radiate love from your heart chakra as you're doing so. I mean, that's at a basic level, but in general, when you say show respect for Mother Earth, what are probably some of the best ways to do that other than the things I just mentioned?
Well, I'll be happy to share. My third book is called Dancing with Mother Earth. It's still in the editing process, but it mainly talks about educating ones, and I'll get along to real quick here and answering your question, is that it teaches us the basic appreciation that, we're a lot like Mother Earth, and Mother Earth is a lot like us. She is a live organic being. She breathes. And she has breath holes throughout the earth, and she also has energy centers, chakras, just like us. So she is a live, organic being. And I think that when we begin to associate that she is a live, organic, breathing being, just like us, and we like her, that we become appreciative on a deeper level that we're all here to help each other. And when appreciating her on that deeper level, we begin to start caring about ourselves and Mother Earth. And, being conscientious is just not a earth platform to walk on and do what we want to do, to appreciate the grass, the trees, the water, everything we drink, the air, everything is alive. And it's all associated with Mother Earth. If it wasn't for Mother Earth, we would not have a live place to be. The water is alive. The air is alive because they have live spirits. Water and the spirits of water is undying spirits. And the air spirits that move, that makes it alive, is the soul spirits. And so Mother Earth is a part of all of this. And so just being conscientious and appreciating every day that we have beautiful trees that are alive, that we have beautiful air to breathe, that we have rivers and streams and ocean. And to appreciate these things every day makes us more conscientious. Therefore, we do not litter. We appreciate when we turn the faucet on, we have water. Here in Washington, we're not in a drought as California was. And so to be appreciative and not let the water run for long, extensive amount of time, but be resourceful. And be grateful, and to know that when we take a shower or when we drink water that's filtered, of course, that we appreciate that and know that we're putting that energy into it. Because see, if we take in a shower and we say, thank you, water, I love you, and thank you, and we're putting that program in the water as it goes down the drain and goes down through the sewage, into the flow, into the ocean, into the rivers, we are programming that live, undying spirits on its journey, on its way. So everywhere we go, appreciating.
I'll chime in a little bit about Mother Earth, too, because she's one of my favorite people or beings, because the fact that she's got ley lines, chakras, breath holes, she's also deeply affected by negative EMFs. That's part of our, you might say, global climate change, is the EMFs that are affecting Mother Earth. And this does lead a lot of people to, say, buying a Orgone cone or pyramid to place near a cell tower to deflect the negative energy for the whole neighborhood.
So what John is speaking of here is that we have cones, and our Mother Earth Orgone are natural elements combined together. It's actually a science by Wilhelm Reich from the 30s. Wilhelm Reich has done many experiments years ago, and as he has passed today, of course, he still has like 33 books in Maine. He has an actual library, an institution there that anybody can get on the internet and order his books, 33 different books, speaking about the origin of Orgone, its powerful effect, and how it's helped people in the past, and how today, how we have these Mother Earth Orgone pendants, jewelry, and devices and cones, as I mentioned, you could put next to your computer, we put it on our TV, and we put one in the kitchen. We have one in every corner of our home and our business, so that because of the several computers we have in our office, and it grids a negative. So what we do is we put the 4 cones in every corner of our building, upstairs and downstairs, to grid it a positive. And the Mother Earth Orgone is so wonderful because it emits the same energy as the sun rays. It's a positive life force. We need the sun, and so, especially in Washington, right? So with the Mother Earth Orgone, it's a positive, like, I'll give you a quick example what it's really like. If you look, in the sunny days, if ones have looked towards the sun, but not directly at the sun, but a little bit away, you'll see little squigglies, little white squigglies. Have you ever seen this, Andrew?
Well, can you hear me? Sorry, it took long for the mute button to unmute. Well, actually, I'm an avid sun gazer, and I use the sun gaze only during the 45 minutes of sunrise and sunset. But when Akashic Records Reader Andrew Bartzis said you can look at the sun any time of day you want, it will not hurt your vision. The sun's energy is electromagnetic, and your body is held together by electromagnetism. It'll bypass your eyes and go straight, bypass the physical, go right to the brain to neutralize everything. So even when I heard that, I started looking at the sun at high noon when I was walking down the sidewalk.
Wonderful.
And I've been doing it since April, and I have no vision loss. So I know he's right. So, yeah, I know a thing or two about that.
That is so exciting. It's so encouraging that you share that. So have you remember seeing those little, when you do that and not looking directly at the sun, but a little bit distant into the blue sky, you see the little white squigglies. Do you remember seeing that?
Well, no, but only because I was not paying attention to them. You can bet that when I look at the sun again, I'm going to do that.
That's
I'll see them.
So try it next time. You'll see little white squigglies. And those little white energy squigglies, that is live Orgone. So Wilhelm Reich, what he did is he created all materials, physical elements combined together in creating this Orgone. So we have a really good friend, a family member who creates this for us, and we have all these different forms that of the Mother Earth Orgone, whether they're jewelry, pendants, or cones, or pyramids. And so it emits the positive energy just like the sun rays.
Thanks for covering that. Guess we'll move on to another subject here. Birthright readings and akashic readings. By the way, I'm going through your site, premalia.com, as a guide here. The birthright reading. So I guess you might as well talk about that. What's that all about?
Say it one more time. Did you say that again,
Birthright
Andrew?
readings.
Birthright readings. Oh, I love it. Birthright readings are so exciting because when I ask, like, for instance, Andrew, let's start. Well, let me explain, and then let's use you as an example, okay? So when I ask people, what is your birthright name? And they'll say the first, middle, and last name. And people usually have a middle name. If they don't, that's okay. It's on their birth certificate, whatever their birth with. And because everybody who has a birthright name, there's a significant meaning in their name. And so let's use your name, for instance, Andrew. Say your whatever's on your birth certificate, tell me your name.
Andrew Michael Fisher.
Oh, nice. Andrew Michael Fisher. So when I say your name, there is a resonance. There's a phonetics, and in the phonetics, there's a resonance of a sound. In that sound, I capture the characteristic of that, because everything is energy, everything is a vibration, everything is a frequency. So when I say Andrew Michael Fisher, I get a resonance. In that resonance of the characteristics, I get that it means Michael, let me go into it. Andrew Michael Fisher. And the first thing I got, and the second hit I got on this as it comes through with spirit, is uprightness. That you are anxious and eager in sharing what's upright. The importance of upright. And when we look at the word upright, we think of integrity. What is the highest peak in doing what is right? And the next thing I'm getting is that you get so anxious about sharing so much information that downloads through you. Sometimes you don't know what to do because so much information comes through. Is this correct?
Well, I sometimes do like to make things complicated for myself, so I guess that will, because nobody has trouble understanding the nature of reality like I do. I can assure you that my difficulties understanding the nature of reality are greater than yours, and it makes sense that I have my show as a result of that. But yeah, it kind of fits me to a T. By the way, I have not actually seen my birth certificate in a long time, so I don't know if my middle name Michael is on there. Do they put middle names on birth certificates?
Oh, well, sure. If your mother suggested it or your father suggested it, when they're actually doing it, whatever it is that, where you're birthed and your birth given name, that's the frequency. And so everybody's birth given name has a frequency. In that frequency of the characteristics of the essence, there's a meaning behind that. So when I ask people, as I did for yourself, it tells me about you, and it's so exciting because it gives me a doorway, and it also will take me into the Akashic records of individuals.
Yes, the Akashic records. We got to talk about that because my favorite source of information by far is Akashic records reader Andrew Bartzis. he claims that there are Akashic Records people on planet Earth who can access and read the Akashic Records that can verbalize them better than he can, but something tells me he's being humble when he says that, because the fact that he's a galactic historian would lead you to think that he would need to be the best Akashic Records reader. But hey, I could be wrong. But it only makes sense, I feel, to use him as a number one source. If he says something about a subject, use him as a source, because you can't go wrong with the Akashic Records, because the Akashic Records, they can't be tampered with. It's possible maybe for him to misspeak, or maybe the entities trying to affect him could perhaps make him say something he didn't mean to say. But as far as reading the Akashic Records, you can't go wrong, because those can't be tampered with. But and he does a lot of readings too and all. But the Akashic Records, I'd like you guys to talk about that subject for a little while.
The Akashic Records is really exciting because when I do readings for people, I get a lot of different information, whether it's from their ancestors coming through, whatever spirit guides me. I don't make that decision. I kind of stay open and allow spirit to direct me what information needs to be brought up for the person. So at times the Akashic Record will move forward, and I will go into like it feels like I'm taking a journey through a portal in their life. And a lot of times it'll go into some of their past life, because those are particular issues that need to be brought up for that particular reading at that moment for that individual as well as listeners, because it serves the purpose for everybody, myself included. And the reading's not just for the reader, the readee as well, and the audience. And because Spirit is multi-purposeful, and so when it comes up for the Akashic readings, again, I usually am taken to a past experience to help clear or let go of any issues an individual needs to do at that time, so that it can be healed and dissolved and cleared, and what techniques can be applied today. So a lot of times things like that will be brought up for Akashic Records, and everybody has Akashic Records. Even the planet Earth has its record system.
I've heard a lot about that. All right, I guess we'll move on here. And John, if you want to say anything about that, you're more than welcome to. Each of you can take a turn talking. When one's done, the other can talk. Anything you want to say, John, about that?
No, Kimmy's although I'll tell you a great book that was written by for Christians or people who are interested in the entity Jesus, is that a fellow, I believe he was a physician named Levi, left his body in the 1800s, went to examine the Akashic Records, especially revolving around Jesus, and he wrote a book called The Aquarian Gospel of Jesus the Christ, which is written in verse, and it covers things like the lost 18 years, a brilliant book written specifically from the Akashic Records, which, as you say, has all of the information stored very conveniently and accurately. So, yeah, Akashic Records are amazing, and Kimmy does a wonderful job reading them.
Thank you, John.
Glad she liked you saying that. By the way, since you mentioned Jesus, Andrew Bartz says, Jesus was a solar being. His story has been twisted, but we're not going to get into that. Just thought I'd throw that out. But I'd like to get into next year.
While you talk about Jesus, let me tell you one thing. The first book I published, I don't know, I think you saw some of our books, but the first book I published was in 1985, included the images of Sai Baba. And it included specific drawings of Satya Sai Baba. But here's one of the little speeches. And see, every year in India, for all of the celebrations of the various religions, are huge events at Sai Baba's ashram. And Christmas was usually 100,000 people, and the students would give a wonderful play based on the life of Jesus. And then Sai Baba would tell specific things about, like in this case, Jesus, that people had never heard. And that's what got me to India in the first place, was reading a book called The Holy Man and the Psychiatrist back in 1976. I was on a trip to Switzerland on a business trip, and I read this book and ended up going immediately to India. But here's just a sample of how this little fellow talks. and it's only a few short sentences here, but he was explaining how there really wasn't the star that led the wise men to Bethlehem. He said, what the story signifies is that there was a huge halo of splendor illuminating the sky over the village when Christ was born. This meant that he who was born to overcome the darkness of evil and ignorance had taken birth, that he would light the lamp of love in the hearts of men and the councils of humanity. Appearances of splendor and other signs to herald the era which are dawned are only natural incarnations happen on earth. Jesus was born to shatter the darkness that had enveloped the world. And that was just part of a little speech given by a little man in 1974 or so that got me to go in the first place. So moving right along.
Let's stay on that for a moment since you mentioned that. First of all, about Sai Baba, I'd like to point out that in his book, Children of the Matrix, David Icke exposes, for lack of a better phrase, that Sai Baba was actually a con artist, thief, pedophile, and murderer. And in my interview with Swami Shiravandagiri, he talked about how Sai Baba did actually have true powers, but he started to abuse them, and then he lost them. However, Matthew Bueno, a shaman who often appears on In5D Radio, I called him because he uses Sai Baba as one of his guardian angels for work, and I told him, why would you want to use Sai Baba in your work when he's a con artist, thief, pedophile, and murderer? And then when I spoke to Bueno at another show, Bueno said, one of my other spirit guides told Sai Baba, hey, someone who called into a show that Matt Bueno was on says that you're a horrible fraud, and Sai Baba allegedly pointed to himself and said, who, me? With this being said, was Sai Baba a fraud or was he not a fraud?
Not a fraud at all, in my humble estimation. I saw him 17 different trips, and from my personal perspective, he's the most powerful and amazing being who's been on this planet for the last 5,000 years. I've seen so many physical materializations and miracles that he's done, but the main thing the guy does, he's an absolute, from my perspective, he is the incarnation of love. And so if you look at all of the other great teachers of the world, every one of them has had huge detrimenters, all throughout history. And whoever you're talking about is about this murder and all this stuff, I would just say that they're coming from the wrong angle.
Okay.
I could tell you some specific stories about Sai Baba that you'd be interested to hear. That would be helpful.
Not really. We got other things to discuss. There is a documentary I would recommend, though, for people that want to check this out on the UFO TV Studios YouTube channel called Man of Miracles. It talks about Sai Baba, and there were some things that I saw in that documentary that looked like, hey, maybe Sai Baba did have some powers, but whether or not what Swami said about him abusing them and losing his powers in the future, I don't know. But I really don't want to get off on too much of a tangent on that subject.
Andrew, let me pass one thing on. I will pass on to you a recent photo of Sai Baba. I think you know that his physical body passed away 3 years ago. So now he's showing up in his light body at all kinds of different events. And I've got a current photo of him showing up at a spiritual gathering in Thailand that I'll send you as an email. Now, the guy is the most amazing person who's been here, from my perspective, like I say, since Krishna. That's why they still, for 5,000 years ago, are still saying Hare Krishna. Moving right along.
Yeah.
If I may say, I saw a white ball coming down our office hallway at our other office in Kirkland, and it was the purest, whitest light that I've never seen in my life. It's more than it's comprehensible, the purest light of white light, and I saw Sai come out of the white ball. And I've had many experiences with him for the last 4 years, on and off in our home, in our office, and I'm very sensitive. I wouldn't allow any kind of energies that were not of the highest and purest. So at least I can vouch for that part,
Okay, but let's stick with the subject of India for a moment. Alan Steinfeld had him on my show. He said India is a mess. Anyone who says it's magical and spiritual doesn't know what they're talking about. Every so often you run into something metaphysical and spiritual when you see people smoking pot and meditating. But other than that, it's really a messed up country. I'm sure you had a different experience. Could you maybe briefly touch on this?
Well, basically, I started going there in 1976. I spent most of the time, though, at Sai Baba's ashram, where there's vegetarian food. At his ashram, you could not even make a contribution, so money was not even in order. The rooms, they charged $2 a night if you had a room by yourself. So money was not an object. It was a sacred space. I've been also in India with Ravi Shankar, Sri Ravi Shankar, who does an amazing workshop called Art of Living. Also Nithyananda, a brilliant young Swami from India, who's come to the United States and set up a number of temples over here. Amachi, Divine Mother, Amritanandamayi, who gives hugs around the world. So I've seen, I agree with you that there's... when I first arrived in India and saw people sleeping up and down the sidewalks and so on, it's pretty startling. And if as you mentioned, you crowd that many people into that much territory, you get some overcrowding. But I felt people were happier there. The poorest people were happier there than some of the richer people here. I think you pick up the impression you have of India is based on what's in your eyes and your heart. That's what I would say.
Oh, that's nice, John.
Yeah, it was nice. Everybody's got a different point of view on things. I do want to talk about numerology now. I did talk about numerology in my interview with Marty Leeds. Briefly touch on how it works. Maybe we're preaching to the choir here, but for people that are new that don't know how it works, tell us on numerology how you determine the codes and everything in that, and what you see in that.
So everything in the world is an energy, and every energy can be calculated in a mathematical. So in numerology, if you want to calculate someone's birthright name, and so it starts from 1 through 9, and you want to add all your numbers up. Say, for my birthday is like a 10-8, and I won't tell you the year. So, or a 10 and a 3, and so the 10 is the month of October, so that's a 1, and then the day is a number 3, and then you add the year, and then you keep adding till you get to a single number, and with that single number, it is identified through a characteristic, like 1 through 9 is. One it means independence, and this is what I mean by characteristic. 1 means independent or by yourself. Number 2 is sensitivity. Number 3 is creativity. Number 4 is stability, structure, foundation. 5 is creativity, but also change. Number 6 is spirituality. Number 7 is going inward and getting closer to God. Number 8 is abundance, breaking in our harvest. Number 9 is letting go and clearing away all that we have done for the 9 years. So those are the characteristics of the numbers through 1 through 9. So again, you're going to add up your numbers for your birthday for the year, and you can also use your house number. And you go through the 1-9 description as I just shared, and it'll talk about what you're going through that year or that time. Now, you can also make some changes with numerology in the sense, say, for your home. Say you want to bring more abundance in your home, and say your numbers add up to be a 7, and you need one more digit to make it an 8 for abundance. Raking in your harvest. You can actually write down a number and tape it to the top of your door frame, on your front door right at the top, and making it a number 8. So you can put that at your office door discreetly. If you're in a building and your office door maybe is a 2A. So instead of a 2, maybe you want to put one more digit, making it creative energy. So you can add these digits on your door, like the front door, your office door, to help enhance that energy to come through. So that's kind of how numerology works. I usually use it for people who want to have a basic understanding for themselves, and I also teach them and share that with them as I'm briefly sharing here. And also with their home, or if they're looking for a home, look for the address. What's their address of that building? Because everything is a vibration. Our home is a vibration with the number. Ours is 14412, and the digits calculated down goes to a number 3, which is creativity. So I knew that we need creative energy to create John and I and our Shanti Kitty to be productive. So that was a perfect number of the vibration of the home here is the number 3, as well as it being our office. So that's a little brief description of numerology and how it works.
Thanks a lot. We'll move on to the subject of chakras now. By the way, I don't actually do numerology readings. I don't even do astrology readings. I'm the kind of guy that believes just live life to the fullest and just let the stars and the numbers guide you. Don't have to obsess too much about what the horoscopes and the readings say. But, hey, people might say you're missing out on all the fun if you don't look at them. So, but, hey, what the hell? Everybody's got their own perspective on that. But one thing want to discuss about the chakras. We don't have to go through each chakra one by one. I did my own show on that by myself. But what I would like to talk about is the subject of whether or not you actually need chakras. George Kavaslis may be one of the best examples of someone who says you don't need the chakras. He says just combine all your chakras into one, and that one is your heart soul essence, your heart chakra. Use that chakra, and you can't go wrong. Just go with your heart. And he even advocates, he even says you shouldn't try to use your pineal gland too much because that's where the mind is, and they want control of your mind. So don't use the pineal gland, go with the heart. But others would say, nah, you're missing out on all the fun. If you only go with the heart chakra, you should try to use all the other ones. So I do want to talk about that. And after you talk about that, please also talk about the whole subject of whether or not we have more chakras than just 7 and whether or not those are currently activating in this time of great consciousness expansion.
Let me start on that and then turn it over to Kimmy. Because when you say, do we need the chakras, it's not a question, do we need them? We have them, and they're constantly spinning. They're constantly part of our physical activity of the body. So getting down then into whether we want to focus on strengthening one or more of the chakras compared with the others, that's maybe something to discuss, which I will turn over to Kimmy.
Good point, John. That's really nice. So the chakras are, I think it's to consider the whole being, right? Consider ourselves, appreciating ourselves, respecting ourselves from head to toe. So every color is a reflection of the rainbow. And I think it's good to consider our whole self. We don't need to overanalyze things. I think maybe that's what one's maybe trying to suggest, but I think it's good that we learn to, ground ourselves. It's so important, as our first chakra is, because of the static, the negative EMFs, the distraction. And so I think we need to ground first. Or how can we get into our heart if we're not grounded and we're scattered all over the place? So I think it's really important that we ground and focus our first chakra and utilize our feet as well, the whole being, the whole body, into the earth, Mother Earth, appreciating her, but grounding ourselves. It's so important. And using that with the breath. And, we can go into other chakras, the creativeness, the second chakra, and knowing where we hold our emotions. And is the third in our belly area. If I share with ones, if somebody gets very angry or yells, we should cover our tummy area, and because that's our third chakra, and it's very sensitive. We can absorb things intuitively through our third, and so when we cover our tummy area, if there's a loud noise or somebody who's very upset, it protects that vulnerable area, the area that we need to sense things with, which is our third chakra. It's our seat of our emotions. And so, of course, then the heart, which, it's joy, it's a doorway for our child, is the key holder of our heart. And then communication, the throat area. It's important when we have issues or blocks in our throat. What could we do to help unblock it? I think chakras are important. It helps us to appreciate different parts of our physicality as well. And the third eye, the sixth chakra, to protect it, and that it sees and constantly, like a videotape, constantly turning like a video, and to appreciate it. And of course, seven. The seventh chakra is really important. Oh, I should say the sixth in the throat. That's important because that's how I communicate and hear things through the sixth chakra. It sounds different, but that's actually how it works. When I hear things in other realms and other levels from different guides or angels, it comes through the sixth chakra. That's how we hear. And the seventh is how we download, the knowingness from spirit. I download from the seventh. I actually don't even think anymore. I tell John, I said, I don't think. I just go with the flow with spirit. And it's much fun. It's much more fun because you don't have to beat your brain or overdo things or try too hard. You just kind of let go and go with the flow, but you got to be grounded. I think that's very important. We have other chakra centers in our legs and our arms. They're like little main energy centers. And we also have chakras that go above our head. As far as Spirit has shown me, that we have 15, 16 chakra, 12 being the top of our, 7 the top of our head, but 15 and 16, I've seen personally, just myself, up to 15, 16 chakras above our head. So those are areas that I have seen, and I've not worked with them with any clients consciously, but maybe someday when I do have more time, I can go into those areas. But, when I asked that question about chakras outside of the physical body, that's what Spirit showed me.
Yeah, by the way, if anybody wants to learn about chakras outside the body and chakras on Earth, I would recommend watching one of Matias De Stefano's presentations. For a while, you could only find presentations in Spanish that he did, but he did find an interpreter, and there is some YouTube videos that you could find where he talks about how the Earth chakra system is set up and also in great detail how the universe works. Just thought I'd throw that out. One thing I do want to discuss here, actually, I don't want to talk about essential oils. I did talk about essential oils a lot with my last guest, Connie Boucher. So I think maybe we might want to skip over that for this show. But I guess we'll talk about angel realm and reading. The whole thing about angels, this is a little confusing. What is an angel? Well, if you translate it, it goes to messenger. And the whole subject of archangels, whether or not they're evil, because some people say the word archangel, it contains the word archon, the archons, the bad aliens who are influencing our reality, the greys, the reptilians, and some other malevolent entities. So that's it's not in your best interest to work with archangels. But others say, no, there are benevolent archangels. There are also malevolent archangels. So let's try to clear up the confusion here. What is an angel and what is an archangel, and are they bad or good, or both?
Well, I just share with everyone, everything should be positive. Everything from spirit, because everything flows through spirit, through the angels, through the guides, through the archangels, and there is a variety of them. To just, it has to be positive energy. If something isn't positive, it's not the flow of spirit, and it's not in accordance with spirit, whether it's an archangel, a guide, or an ancestor. So the best advice I share with everyone is positive. And it should make you feel good. If it doesn't, then don't go with it. Right.
But what exactly are angels? Because some people don't understand what they are. I mean, anybody could ask, like, at Akashic Records here, like Andrew Bartis, and they give an answer to that. But many people have given different descriptions of what angels are and what they do. So could you perhaps explain?
Sure. My experience with angels, they're helpers. Say, for instance, this is actually in my first book, Home is in Your Heart, and all my true miracle stories that I've had. and I was on a freeway, and I had a passenger in my car. I was taking him to a job, and I didn't know that he had drinking, and he was unbalanced, let's put it that way. So he started behaving a little odd, and here I was driving him to a job. I was in Northern California on the freeway, and I got really scared. My daughter was in the back seat of the car I was driving, and he was acting really odd. I was getting very nervous. I looked in my rearview mirror looking for help, hopefully a police officer or anybody. I was very scared. And he started getting louder and belligerent. I was getting really scared. I looked in the rearview mirror again, and nobody was on the freeway. I didn't know what to do. So then, I've got my daughter in the back seat. Nobody's around. I'm responsible for a safe vehicle in motion. All of a sudden, out of the blue, there is red lights flashing in my rearview mirror. Out of the blue, because remember previously I looked in the mirror and there was nothing on the freeway behind me. And so the lights were flashing. I was on the freeway. I pulled over and so grateful this red light police officer was behind me that pulled me over on the freeway. So I pulled over, and as I pulled over, and usually you got to stay in your car, but I was so scared. I didn't know what to do. I knew that if I got up and got out, my daughter would be okay. She's in the back there because he's up at the passenger seat. As soon as I opened my door, Andrew, to step up and out, I heard a loud male voice, a very stern, loud male voice say, "You're being protected." And the police officer, I told him the whole story. He took the man away. My daughter and I drove home safely, and so grateful. Now that is an angel. And I've had many other miracle stories of angels. Now that is an angel, okay, guiding me, protecting me.
Well, that does make sense. They say spirit guides and guardian angels. So, yeah, that does make sense there. One thing I do want to talk about, I probably should have talked about this when you mentioned it, the subject of grounding, because there are different ways to ground, like walking barefoot on the grass or putting your hands on the grass, any way like that. There's other ways to do it, like certain meditations, like if you're not on the grass or on the ground, you could just sit in a meditative stance in a lotus flower position and connect like a cord to the core of the earth. I've done that a few times myself during the winter time when it's too cold to go outside to ground. But in regards to grounding, how should you do it, and what are some of the best ways that you can think of doing it, and how does it help you, and why should you do it?
I'll add in on this one that one of the greatest things you can do for grounding is simply to wear or carry an Orgone energy generator. It continually establishes a grounding motion that connects you with the deeper core of Mother Earth. Now, Kimmy has other ideas, I'm sure, and she'll go on with that.
Thank you, John. That is such a great thing because when we get so busy, as we all do, and I always personally, myself, and I share with everyone, I just visualize a light going through my body from the center of me. When maybe I had too many cups of coffee, and so Spirit will bring that to my acknowledgement. You're going too fast. Spirit will just tell me these things. I get you're going too fast. You need to ground. So then I say, oh, okay, and so I kind of stop when I'm standing up, and I just visualize from the center of my body going down into the earth, and I use my legs too, and all the way down, visualizing this light out of the center of my body, going through my legs, down into the earth, until I feel a plateau, and it goes ding, and I feel like I've hit a plateau. Then I know that I'm grounded. And in doing so also, I might need to shake my arms sometimes and release a lot of energy that may be built up in the body, because you got to release. You have to, and doing it with breath, but visualizing the white light from the center into the earth. And when we do this often, it reminds us about loving ourselves and appreciating Mother Earth, reconnecting, regrounding ourselves. And, because we become static in the negative EMFs that are around us on the fast-paced world or the loud noises, really letting things go with the breath, shaking things off, and regrouping, regrounding ourselves with the white light that we have within us down into the earth. Mother Earth wants us to connect with her with white light. And therefore it grounds us.
Thanks a lot. By the way, I do have a caller on here. I guess I'll let this caller on. And I do have a question in the chat room, so I guess I'll take the caller first. This is a 1111111 number, so I don't know why that happens. But if you're calling into the show, you are on the air. Hello.
Hi, my name is Patricia. I just logged in, actually, and I was listening to you, and I wanted to find out if you're taking any comments or questions.
Yes, we are. Go ahead.
Okay.
What's your name? Where you're from? Introduce yourself again.
I'm in the Southwest, and my name is Patricia.
How you doing? Glad to have you on.
Thank you. And I believe I just logged in, so I'm not quite sure who the names are, but is your name Prema?
Hi.
Hi.
It's Prema Lia.
Hi. I was listening to your story, and I'm very connected also, like with the angels and with nature, and I wanted to ask for your opinion because something's been happening to me, and I need to find out why. If you can answer this for me, I'd appreciate it.
Sure.
I am starting to see...
May I share it with you before you tell me?
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Okay, Patricia, this is what I'm getting. And I'm getting confirmation chills through me right now. Do you feel chills going through you, Patricia?
Yes, I do.
Good. I see white lights flashing around you. What happened is your chakra centers are being opened up and activated even more. And Spirit says drink lots of water with lemon as a cleansing. Eat really clean raw food. Your chakras are open up. You're connecting more with the earth. You're being connected more with the fairies. There are real live fairies. I've seen them with my physical eyes. Mm-hmm. And you're being open to the fairies and the elves, the diva spirits. And I'm also getting that you will eventually hear more and more spirit coming through you, like a little inner whisper, motivating you, directing you, and that you're following your heart. The words are coming out of my mouth, following your heart in this whole new direction of light, love, and joy and peace, and things will continue to get better and better in your life.
Wow, you just made my whole 20,000 years.
And this is so true. Always follow your heart no matter what. It's almost been like you've second-guessed things in the past, and things are shifting and opening up more for you. Well, things will open up more and more and more. But they're also saying be careful with dairy. Try not to do much dairy because it masks some of the information that Spirit wants. Spirit wants to talk to you more and more. As this is being pushed out of my mouth, Spirit wants to talk to you more and more through your heart, and things will open up. And to start taking notes, even in the middle of the night, keep a tablet of paper and a pen next to your bed, and if you wake up or hear or get a sense of a knowingness, of echo of words, if you can't hear the words, but you get this energy of this knowingness that kind of emanates through you, then note these things down. And just breathe and go back deeper in yourself. And their Spirit's saying you're waking up inside also, as we are all doing that. But I'm also getting to go into the sun more and more sunlight. You need more sun is what I'm getting.
Okay. And I had a nudge to do that, and so I'm starting to get out in the sun more. In fact, I was just in the sun a little while ago.
Good, because Spirit says that you need that. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's coming through really fast.
Sure.
And to go in the sun more and more as you can, because it's your cells are being our cells change all the time, but what I'm getting, they're showing me, is that your cells are being revitalized and reactivated, re-nurtured, because there's a new you, like a new spring bloom and becoming to a whole new fruition. I'm also seeing a change of a move or residence or some change in your home, whether it's a decorating, but I also feel there's more movement around.
Okay. Three neighbors just moved out.
Okay, so this is with you. I think there's new changes. We start from the inside. Everything changes, and that's what this is happening with you. And so with these inner changes, of course, we have to ground, and that's what you're doing, and getting the nutrients and the nurturing of the reactivation with your cells from the sun. And that's why you need that, because everything is blooming like flowers that need the sun, but you're doing it on an inside level. And therefore, when the inside all changes into the new bloom, the new spring, the new you, and then there's some new changes around your environment. And so that's what I was getting. I'm also being told by Spirit right now, you got to drink a lot more water, and of course it's filtered water that's really important. Lemon water that cleanses is going to cleanse the bladder area and depleting all the toxins out of the body, and a lot more raw food and gentleness. And you have Spirit saying to me to tell you this gentle beauty that you are very patient and loving with people, and you guide people in this beautiful and this gentle way. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And Spirit says to tell me how beautiful you are, what a beautiful, bright being that you are. And I'm getting chills going through me really strong. And wow. Spirit will spit things out of my mouth, and how you're just beautiful. On the inside, your soul is beautiful, and now you're opening up and going to see more of who you really are, and anybody who does not support you in a beautiful way of who you and validating you, then it's time to let them go and keep walking. Spirit is showing me a picture of you moving forward, walking forward. So keep moving forward, keep walking forward.
Okay. Wonderful. That's a beautiful message.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so glad I called in.
You. This is so exciting.
Thank you. Well, the thing that I wanted to share with you is that I'm starting to see eyes. Like I see eyes in all the plants, like on my acre, all the sage. Their eyes are starting to come out.
That's exactly what I saw in the beginning. I don't mean to cut you off. That's exactly what I saw, and that's why I wanted to share before you told me. I saw that your insides are opening up more and more, which is those chakra centers. Is how we communicate with ourselves, with Mother Earth, because she has those chakra centers too, as well as all the supportive light beings all around, not just this planet, but other planets. So that's why it's real important for us to ground. We like a grounding force into the Earth being activated, as well as the planetary system and all other planets beyond the Mother Earth. In many, many solar systems, we become a light being, a light corded into the Earth, as well as brightness shining and communicating like a giant white antenna through all the different solar systems and light beings that are supporting us today. And so you're being activated on an inner level, and therefore you're beginning to see with all your inner eye, and you're sensing and feeling and communicating with all your different chakra centers as well. And then then you start seeing the spirits, they're showing eyes. And so you can look at the symbolism of what eyes mean. Eyes mean to see things, to open. Just you look up all the symbolisms of what it means. You can just stand there and flow and hear, and instead of just analyzing with the mind. So all the fairies are talking with you. And I just saw a flash go in front of my eyes now through the air, and so that's the wind salts. So everybody is talking to you on every level. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I can feel, like when I go walking, I can feel the energy of the air, and it is so beautiful. I've never felt that before. And I'm starting to see like different colors of eyes of, I don't know if these are multi-dimensional beings, but I see their eyes and they come to me like right before I start going to sleep. And I'm not afraid, but I just see them looking at me, and I was just wondering, why are they doing that?
That is wonderful. And so always journal and take notes if you can, and always communicate with love, as you probably already do. And the different eyes, I feel, is the fairy world, because I feel a lot of nature around you, because the first thing I got again was that, all the elements around, all of nature. Nature wants to talk to you really loud.
Yes, I love nature.
Yes. And they're having me say out of my mouth, nature loves you and wants to talk to you loudly. So all these little eyes are very exciting. So keep the journal and the notes, because it helps you to really stay in tune and appreciate that it's true and it's there. And they love you very much, and they're saying to me to tell you they want to come out and play.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Go ahead.
I've been in a very playful mood, actually.
Oh,
I feel
good.
like a child. Ever since this has happened, I feel like my whole life I'm going back to childhood.
Yes. And
being the child that I never was.
And
yes,
the child
and
has
it's
always
wonderful.
been there. Never lose it. And get out your crayons if you have to draw, or pen and paper, and let the child play, because the child is the key holder of the heart, and the child opens up our imagination, which the imagination is the part of us that brings in the intuitive. So we never want to say, oh, that's childish, or that's just my imagination. Let your imagination open up. And that is, our imagination is the intuitive.
Mhm. Yeah.
So you're right on.
Oh, wonderful. I'm glad I called in. Thank you.
Yes, you made my day. You get me all excited.
And you are so accurate. I mean,
oh, good.
I didn't even have to say anything.
You
touched on everything.
When I hear you and feel you in the center of myself, I feel like play, 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 have fun, and let it be a play, let it be a day. And go out and dress yourself up in whatever makes you feel beautiful, and you'll feel how Spirit will move you to dress in that right attire for that day. And then you go out in nature and play. And take, I'm being shown you with a little tablet, and so draw pictures, what you see. Because if you keep notes and draw little pictures, you don't have to be no one has to be a great, fantastic artist, because all you got to do is keep your notes with your images and your pictures. I'm being moved by my hands again for you to draw little diagrams, like when you saw the eyes, do the little eyes, because later it's going to open up to whether it's a workbook or a book to teach others.
Okay.
And
wonderful.
You have such a beautiful heart that Spirit has me to say and share this again. You are so beautiful, so kind, and so loving to people.
Well, I believe that, I want to move into that world, and I would love for the whole world to be in that place. It's just better, for the animal kingdom and the earth, and just to be gentle, because there's so much, there's just so much going on, and the more we move into that direction, the better it is for all.
Yes. This is so exciting. You're opening up in your world of passion, of your purpose on this earth, if I may say that. It's so exciting, Patricia, and it's so beautiful. And I'm so excited for you when you open up. It's such a great place to be,
Yes, it is. And thank you for who you are.
Oh,
thank you for being on the radio.
It's such a delight. You're so welcome.
Thank you. You're a big part of it.
Thanks
thank
for
you for the radio show, gentlemen. You have a good evening.
You have a good evening,
Patricia.
Bye,
Patricia.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Welcome.
Well, I hope all the listeners will actually get something away from that. I guess the advice you gave Patricia is stuff that a lot of other people can take into account. But I would like to move on here to the subject of past life regressions and hypnotherapy. I've talked about this on my show before, but hey, might as well talk about it again because it probably was a little while. When it comes to hypnotizing people through hypnotherapy and getting past life material out of them, what are you most concerned about in regards to techniques and how to help the people make the most of this?
Well, I always share with individuals when I do hypnotherapy is that they're in full control. I just facilitate. I just hold the energy, and they're in full control. They can even learn to do this for themselves. So when they're there sitting back in a recliner or laying horizontal, I do a prayer to open up the energy and ground and ask Spirit to come through in the best and highest form for their highest good and my highest good. And whatever the intention is the person would like for the process of the session, I always put that in the prayer because we got to ask Spirit. And then I always keep a pen and a paper, and I walk the person down, whether it's stairs or elevator, and I do a real good evaluation first of the person so I know what they're comfortable with and what they're not comfortable with, what is their past experience, if it's the first time or not. So we kind of reevaluate everything with the individual first, and that way I know how to approach it in the best way for the highest good. So, and I walk them through the steps or the elevator, and then after the bottom of the steps or the elevator, the door opens on an elevator, and they're a whole new place, and they start telling me what they see. They tell me, I say, what do you see? Once the elevator from the 10th floor down to the first floor, and then the doors open up. I say, what do you see? You tell me. And they're going to start telling me what's out of them. And so I don't tell them, they tell me. And I just remind them that they're in a safe, confidentially private environment, and very safe. And I will take notes. I let them know that I'm taking notes. They are welcome to take all those notes home at the end as well. And they start to tell me what they see and what they experience. And for ones who have difficulty getting all the way down, relaxed and grounded, I use little extra techniques of breathing, as well as maybe walking them up and down through the physical body parts, or releasing different parts. And I also ask them permission, may I touch your leg? Or may I touch your shoulder? And what I do is I press lightly on the shoulder, assisting them to ground and let go. Sometimes people need that physical, tactile touch on the shoulder to help have them go down, because they're afraid of how to process themselves. So back with the elevator doors, they're all the way from counting from 10 all the way down to 1. The elevator doors open up, and then they're in a whole new, maybe beautiful green environment with flowers. Then they're going to walk out the doors, and they're walking down a path, and they're going to start sharing with me all that they see. And say they come to, then I share with them, if they have trouble continue to visualize, I say, now up ahead, I might put in little injections and say there's a cross road up ahead. Tell me when you get there. And they're at the crossroad. And then there may be somebody standing there. Or if you want to take this road or that road, I give them options. And this will assist them if they have a hard time visualizing. And then all of a sudden, there may be somebody at the crossroad standing there waiting for them. And who is this person? And what does this person look like, smell like, feel like? And what do you get sense-wise? And if it's a scary situation, Andrew, that they may come across, then I let them know, remind them, because I'm certified alchemical hypnotherapy through David Quigley, which our guides support us through the process, our angel guides. And everybody maybe have their own particulars about how they want their type of process. Maybe it's not through the alchemical, it's just your basic hypnotherapy into the past regression. So back on the road again, and they meet somebody that's scary, I let them know that they're safe and they're really protected, and that I'm here and it's okay. And maybe nobody's ever held their hand and walked them through this. It's very scary, because they're going through all the memory cells in the body that's surging back up. So I share with them different techniques to keep them in their body, so they don't kind of leave, in their body of a traumatic incident, maybe a car accident or something, and I remind them to ground and regroup. And in teaching ones how to have self-help tools is really important, because I don't want people to keep coming back to me over and over again. I try to give people as many tools as possible. And that's why we have a workshop called Soul Empowerment, where we teach and educate people, John and I, how to learn these tools for themselves, how to go down in hypnotherapy for yourself and do the process yourself. And so that's kind of the process, what I do, and then we have the workshop that helps ones to learn these tools. So, everyone could learn to do it themselves.
Right. But you mentioned alchemy. A lot of people don't seem to understand what that term actually means. My understanding, alchemy is the science of making things pure, although that does not necessarily mean you're making things into a utopia, because there's no such thing as a perfect world, one could argue, but you are still trying to make things pure. And so one sense where I've heard the term alchemy, maybe you can help clarify what this is all about.
Dave Quigley, sure. When I took the course, it's a David Quigley, Quigley, I believe his last name's spelt. It's a process, and he calls it alchemical hypnotherapy, and it's just a process where the guides are assisting. It's not just myself and the person who's receiving the guidance. They're also being supported by their angel guides, their guide helpers through this process. So that's the alchemical hypnotherapy by David Quigley. And anyone could go on the internet and just look up and read about David Quigley and what alchemical hypnotherapy. So it's mainly a process where our guides are assisting us. In your basic hypnotherapy, they don't teach about the guides. So David Quigley came up with this, and so we applaud him for that.
Yeah, and one specific thing about alchemy I'd like to ask about. I've heard some people say the psychoactive substance salvia divinorum. You should not use it unless you're a shaman. It is something that shamans of the highest order do to practice alchemy. Maybe this will help people understand what alchemy actually is. Could you maybe explain what that means, that shamans of the highest order use salvia to practice alchemy?
Well, I'm not sure about what that is and what you're referenced to, so I can only share what I shared for myself.
One thing I'll add in about alchemy is that alchemy includes the transformation of the physical energies into a higher form, and that's one of the highest purposes of that Reich was working with when he created Orgone energy. So it's like the Orgone devices are actually alchemical devices.
Okay, thanks for giving your take on that. Moving on to the next thing on your site here, shamanic drum journeys and animal medicine guides. Yes, listening to a drum could put you in a hypnotic trance state. It all depends on the way the drum is beat and how loud it is to some degree too. I'd like you to elaborate on that. And you also talk about the shamanic drum journey can reveal your power animal or ally. Talk about that and the animal medicine guides that you're referring to. This stuff, please.
Yes, I get so excited. I've had a lot of powerful experience. So I have a djembe drum. I actually brought it in my office here because I was going to do a storytelling for the children on video, and I love to have all the little figurines, stuffed animals, and they're sitting on my drum here. I have a djembe drum. I actually play the drum mainly to take people under an altered state. It's just a deep, relaxed state. There again, they're in full control, and they're in a safe place, and it's just a deeper, more relaxed place. And when they do this, they go within themselves. And the shamanic journey is known to have 3 different levels: the higher, the middle, and the lower. They're all equal levels. Not one is better than another. It's just the different levels, different places to go. So I will actually have a group of people, and they're going to be laying on the floor, and we do a clearing process and then a grounding again. There's that first chakra, grounding again, and clearing away, grounding. And they're laying down, and they might have a little blanket on top of their lap, because when we lay down and stay still, we get cooler. Our body temperature drops. So there's a blanket over the top of the body. And then what I do is I play, some people play CD tapes of a drum, and the drum beat, usually a good beat is like the rhythm of the heart. And the earth also, Mother Earth has a rhythmic beat, synchronicity beat.
So is that the Schumann resonance that you're referring to, the Schumann cavity resonance there?
So I'm just referring to the deeper level within us.
No, of the Earth.
And,
is the Earth the Earth's beat? Is that the Schumann cavity resonance? I'm just asking. Is that what you're referring to? The heartbeat of the Earth there.
Of the Earth in Mother Earth? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, the Schumann resonance. Have you heard that phrase before? The Schumann resonance. That's the heartbeat of the Earth.
I haven't. I just was told with Spirit. Spirit just tells me certain things that I need to learn at each time, and Spirit shared with me that it's a pulse. It's a radiant pulse from Mother Earth as well as inside of you. And so that's what Spirit has shared. And so when ones are laying on the floor, after they're relaxed and ready, then I get my djembe drum and I play the drum. I do a rhythmic beat, and Spirit will channel through me to do this beat. And sometimes it's pretty fast. And then people will go deep, deep, deep into a more relaxed state. And I share with them in the beginning that how to do the process first, because I think it's very important to communicate to people how to do. Communication is very important, and to communicate thoroughly that everybody in the group understands. And so I make sure I take care of that part and my responsibility first with everyone. And so I explain from the beginning to the end. And so after they're laying on the floor and ready to go, then I start to drum. And ones will go down deep. It's similar as the past life regression, getting very comfortable, very deep. And they can learn to do this themselves. And we also teach this in the Soul Empowerment, how to do all this. And so then they start to take the journey. But there has to be a tree somewhere, a tree they know of physically, or a tree they can use their imagination. And through this process, they have to go to that tree. It's actually a doorway. And it's a respect for the tree spirit because it's going into a deeper level. And going down the tree, mountain themselves through this doorway of this tree into one of the three worlds, wherever it will take them, knowing they're safe and grounded and protected. And all these three levels are equal. Nothing is lower or higher. It's just named that way. And then after they start to go through the process, I share with them they'll meet their animal guide. And if I share real quickly with you how I first met my animal guide, I went into a journey years ago, and I went down to one of the three levels, and first I was walking on some rocks, and then the next thing I knew, I was looking around to my left, I was looking around to the right, and thought, oh, I'm so excited. I wonder which way is this animal guide? Where's my animal guide? I don't want to miss it. Looking all around, and then all of a sudden, poof, my face, I walked right into this big furry thing. My face went right into this big old fur, right? And then while I was looking to the left and right, and all of a sudden, poof, and then I look up, like, what is this big thing I walk into? I look straight up, and there, it almost makes me emotional, there, it was like a 7-foot or 10-foot big brown mama bear. And she's so loving. And I saw her, and I've had many experiences with her thereafter. And so bear spirit means introspect, going inside of us. So when anybody's driving in a car, walking down the street, walking in a mall, or watching a TV program, and you see a bear, that is a hint or a clue that is our animal guide. If you see it repetitively, that's a clue. That's your animal guide. And they call it animal medicine, animal guide. And my father's Aztec, Native American, and Caucasian mix. And so we learned a lot about different things about the earth and respects to it. And I grew up on a ranch with many animals, and they were my best friends. So I had a lot of blessings when I was younger about the environment and learning resourceful things from the earth, and as well as animals. But back with bear medicine, I've had wonderful experiences with her. And she's very loving and guiding. And so for ones, If you want to know what your animal medicine or animal totem or guide, it's like an angel, same thing. So if you see an animal repetitively, that's your animal guide talking with you, and therefore you look up the animal. You can do it on the internet and read upon it. It's everywhere. Or you can go on my website, prema-lia.com, and look up. I have a few there. And if you just want to know what your animal is, I'd be happy to share that to you email. And they help you. They'll protect you. I've had wolf spirits. They run in several groups. I looked in my living room one time. I saw a bunch of, I think there were about 3 or 4 wolf spirits running across the living room floor. And they ran in a group. And I was in the bathroom getting dressed one early evening. And when I was single, I was getting dressed with makeup, going to go out with girlfriends. And so my chemistry was changing, preparing to get dressed and go out with girlfriends, and your hormones will change while you're preparing, while you're getting dressed up. And so I then heard one of my wolf spirits sniff me. I could hear the sniffing sound. And I knew that, that it was there by the sniffing sound. And then not long after that, I saw them, like 3 or 4 of them. I was in the bathroom, and I looked from the bathroom out to the living room. I just felt something, and I just was pulled to go, inclined to look. And as I looked, I saw like 3 or 4, let's see, 1, 2, 3, I think it was like 4 wolf spirits running, and I'm getting chills across my shoulders now, running across my living room floor. And I thought, oh, that's kind of interesting. They're in groups. And then another time I had a woman doing a hot stone massage on me in my living room, and I looked up and opened my eyes, and I saw a white wolf above me. And whenever an animal is all white, that's a medicine wolf, or that's a medicine animal, a medicine guide that is all white, and it's healing us. Its characteristic is healing us when it's all white. So you can, our soul empowerment, our workshop group that we have, it's 2 days. It's very reasonable. And if ones are interested, accumulation of 5 people minimum to start a workshop, we can go on an animal journey, and I could show you and teach you how you could do this yourself, at home, privately, to meet your animal guides and keep a journal about who you meet and what they say. And then after you become acquainted, they will protect you. They really do. When we see on this earth the different animals here, there are spirits connected with the animals, that are teachers for us. So that's a little bit about animal guide and animal journey drumming.
Okay, well, I got to ask you something. You mentioned that the bear and also white animals, that should be a good sign. Well, it's interesting you mentioned that. That kind of reminds me, first of all, one of the biggest bits of evidence that there is no global warming, it's all a big lie to control our lives, and one of the evidence for that is the fact that polar bears are starting to appear in areas that they weren't previously in like the suburbs of northern Canada and all that, and that's because the Earth has gotten colder over time, and like I said, global warming is a lie. But a lot of people, when they see a polar bear walking around their neighborhood, they would freak out, and a lot of people don't think of polar bears, unlike black bears, which you can walk by in the woods, and they're not going to attack you unless you try to attack them. Polar bears, it's different. They'll jump on you right on the spot. So, I mean, are you saying it's a completely different matter with real-life, third-dimensional stuff than it is with spirit animals?
I'm sorry, what is that last thing you just said?
Well, I said, like, seeing an animal in real life, is it different than seeing an animal in, like, a spirit world? I think,
if you're driving down the road and you see a deer, or if you see a bear, well, you see, it's like inside of us, we have different things going inside of us, and spirit talks from the inside out. And we magnetize things to us through those chakra energy centers again of the things that we need to learn. And so they magnetize to us what we need to learn. They are teachers. So if you're driving down a road and you see a bear, it's magnetizing to you because you need to have that experience, that perception, because we're all connected as one. Then that is a message from that animal talking to you, a part of your animal guide. And if you see the picture of that animal or see that animal repetitively, it's a definite confirmation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. I guess we might as well talk about this because we got quite a lot of time here. I didn't want to talk about it, but change of plans. Essential oils, even though I talked about it with Connie Boucher last week, we might as well discuss it again. What kind of essential oils do you recommend?
I love it, Andrew. You ain't going to believe. There's a lot of different essential oils out there, but you got to be really careful that it's pure because there's so many toxic problems today in the world, unfortunately. We have to become pure and pure with the things that we put in our body or on our body. So doTERRA I love. It's very pure, and there's quite a few different oils, essential therapeutic oils, and anybody who wants to call me, I'll give them at wholesale cost. And I'll even pay for their shipping. And there's a combination oil, and it's called On Guard. It has a variety of different essential oils combined in it. The bottle's in the other room. But I put this, it's got clove, for what I can remember, it's got clove and cinnamon and a few other things. So I sprinkle this on my popcorn. On Guard is a protective oil that it protects against and prevents and works with our immune system. So, and it's, right from nature, and it's processed in a very pure way. So I sprinkle this all over my organic popcorn from Costco. Chickaboom Pop is my favorite popcorn, very expensive, huge bag, and organic, and I sprinkle On Guard all over it, and I mix it up in a separate little bag, and then I eat it. And it's, I'm really careful about the food I eat because I'm very clean about what I put in my system. And so I treat myself popcorn. A lot of people might treat themselves unhealthy snacks, which we feel awful afterwards. So organic popcorn is good, and you sprinkle On Guard. And it's the best popcorn ever. So I sprinkle that all over my popcorn. I eat it almost every night. And, John, do you want to share a little more about the doTERRA oils, your experience?
Well, I use doTERRA for a lot of things. One is for simply, instead of like an aftershave or something, I use essential oils. Or for purifying the water before you head out with a little glass of water, put a small drop of lemon essential oil in there. Essential oils, there's one, I forget the name of it, that bypasses the protection, or I guess not the protection, but it can go right into the brain and is used for...
frankincense!
Yes, tell about that one.
Oh, frankincense. Oh, my word. Oh, my word. Frankincense, I'm going to try to regroup myself. I'm still kind of trying to come out of the animal story here. And so frankincense, there is when we sniff and smell things, it goes up through the nasal passage up to the brain called the amygdala, amygdala, amygdala. And in that area called the amygdala, we store trauma in that area of the brain. But when you inhale frankincense, and it's not just any frankincense, because you don't want to be out there inhaling and sniffing anything, right? You want to be careful what you sniff and smell. It's an intake in the system. So doTERRA is the only one that I would feel safe and comfortable with. And so when I inhale and smell, we have a diffuser also that we use. And when we inhale the frankincense in the diffuser, or you can just sniff it right out of the bottle, or you can put one drop in the palm and lick it. So it goes in that place called the amygdala, and it starts to clear up trauma out of that place in the brain. It's incredible, and there's a whole science video, that I can forward this to whoever would like to. It's incredible. And that's another thing I like doTERRA, because they have a whole science behind everything. And there's a lot of different oils that work on emotional levels that get down to the cell and heal and clear. Orange, wild orange is another essential oil, and it goes right to the cell and it lifts the spirit. Lemon, as John mentioned, a drop of lemon in the water, that will start clearing, out of the toxins, out of the liver and the stomach, and it's a cleanser. And so there are a variety there. Peppermint helps and clears things. Oh, I have to share this. It's so exciting. We have interns here, and we have a cat named Shanti. And one of the interns this last summer has animal allergy, right? And so I thought, geez, I'm going to have to figure out what I can do. We'll put it in the diffuser to help with the allergies. And before we did this, her face was swollen, her face was red, and her eyes were swollen like a fish. I was like, oh, my God, Hillary, are you okay? And she started to talk nasal. She was all congested, and I was getting worried. And because we can't get rid of our cat, and we sure aren't going to get rid of Hillary. We love her, too. And she was with us for the summer. And so I found that you do peppermint and lavender and lemon, and you put it in the diffuser, 2 drops of each in the diffuser with the water, and in 20 minutes, her swelling of her face went down, her eyes went down, and she was in 20 minutes. It was incredible, because it diffuses and cleans up all the toxins out of the environment. And you can use this. She was allergic to animals, but I was reading, you could also use this to clean up any allergies a person would have to anything. It cleans up the environment. A lot of children on the floor, on the carpet, people use toxic chemicals. This will clean it up. Of course, you don't want to keep using toxic chemicals on your carpet, but when babies walk on the carpet even, you want to have a really clean, sterile environment for little ones in your home to breathe the air and so forth. So this cleaned up Hillary all the way, and so every time Hillary came in Monday through Friday, 11 o'clock, as she walked in the office, I said, Hillary, I want you to go ahead and just put those 3 oils in the diffuser. That was her rhythm. She gets to the office, she puts those 3, lemon, lavender, and peppermint, in the oil, in the diffuser, and that was her routine. She would do that, and the office would be diffused with this wonderful aroma. She'd have no symptoms all summer. It was exciting. It was fun. And you feel your energy is lifted, So those are some fun things about the doTERRA oil.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
And again, if anybody wants to get into much greater detail on the subject, listen to my interview last week with Connie Boucher. But one last thing here on the list. You don't have to spend the final 16, 17 minutes of the show talking about this if you don't want to, but psychometry readings and clairvoyance. What is a psychometry reading? How is it, and what is clairvoyance, and how does your work correlate with this stuff?
Psychometry is fun, and I really feel that everybody has the ability for clairvoyance and psychometry, and we also teach this with the Soul Empowerment 2-day workshop. And so psychometry, it's holding objects in your hand, and you feel, because everything is energy, and things that people have with them all the time accumulate your energy. I like car keys, and Spirit's guided me through that. It's not about what Prema Lia thinks. It's about what Spirit tells me. And so I'm always in a safer route when I listen and being guided and told, Spirit will tell me, ask her for her keys to hold. Or maybe some other item that she might have. So with car keys, I'll hold the car keys in my hand, and I'll recenter, regroup, reground, and hold the car keys in my hand, and I'll begin to feel. And I remember having an experience where I kept getting on one of the keys I was holding, I kept getting that her car needed maintenance. And so over and over again. So Spirit was telling me, she needed some car maintenance done. So anyway, psychometry is, sensing and feeling. You're sensing it from that solar plex again, your third chakra. And you're going to sense from that. That's a sentient being through your sensations and your feeling. Because we're feeling beings. We're emotional beings on this earth. We feel. So you do it through your feeling senses, and even though Spirit may download through the seventh chakra and tell us, we'll get this knowingness from our soul on feeling the objects. Or we might hear, through our hearing. And I hear a lot through the right side of me. And so when you hold these objects, ground yourself, ask for protection first, so that we're clean and clear and grounded and centered to get the right, correct information on a safe level. And then you hold an object in your hand, and you begin to sit and listen. You feel, you listen, and you might get images, you might get words, you might get a knowingness out of the center of you. And don't shut those knowingnesses down. Don't shut those words down. Stay open. It's okay to even use your imagination, because that's where the intuitiveness comes through, allowing yourself to flow, and Spirit flows through us, with us, intertwining through us. So that's psychometry. Clairvoyance, and then clairvoyance is seeing pictures. I'll get a lot of different pictures that comes through the mind's eye, and I'll get flash pictures. A lot of times I just go with the flow with Spirit, and but to answer with clairvoyance, it's just pictures that come through. I might get words that come through with the pictures. I might get symbols, images, and through the mind's eye, you'll see flash pictures, and that's where we need to stay open and not just shut it down. When we're younger, even as kids, we're taught not to open and express ourselves. And we need to all stay very creative. And what if we work too much analytically and too much mental, and it becomes blocked? So the best thing to do is let's play. Let's get out and draw a picture. Let's get creative and play. Sit on the floor, play with your kids. Your kids are powerful teachers. This is how to open the doors for clairvoyance. Get on the floor and play with the kids. Forget the TV. It's like an Etch-a-Sketch to the brain. It's scattered. But we get on the floor, play with the kids, be in their world. They are master teachers. They're the ones that we should learn from. So in appreciating how to play and being with the kids and opening that doorway, allowing for the pictures to flash through, for the images, for the symbols. And when in doing so, Spirit's showing me right now, when we open that up, then we open our heart even more. That's what I'm being told right now. I'm feeling in my heart, and I was just shown that to share this. So that's a bit about clairvoyance. There's a lot more information about clairvoyance, and I get really excited because I love to help open people up and play. Because we're about play, right, John?
You got that right.
Yeah, and the way you've handled this show, it shows you're all about play, and that's good. You want to keep the morale up, and playing is a great way to do it. By the way, just a quick check on the time here. We got about 10 minutes left. So one thing I do want to discuss in regards to chakras, David Icke, in his most recent book, The Perception Deception, finished reading it not that long a time ago. One thing he discussed about during the fall of Atlantis, the archons, what they did was they moved us from a heart soul essence that we were normally in Atlantis, and they moved our mentality down to the solar plexus chakra, which has a more of a me personality. It's all about me, and he showed that by saying when someone points to themselves, saying, "Hey, listen to me. I'm the one who's right here." They're pointing to their solar plexus chakra. Is he accurate on that when he said that after Atlantis, but the archons took us from a heart society into a solar plexus chakra society?
Well, I can't speak for other people and what their life purpose, perception, and lesson is here. I can only share for myself and my experiences with spirit. So your specific question again is what?
Is it true that when the archons, when they turned Earth into a prison planet after the fall of Atlantis was a heart, soul, essence society. They used their heart chakra a lot. But after the fall of Atlantis, we moved from a heart-dominant society into a heart chakra-dominant society into a solar plexus chakra-dominant society. And that makes us act the way we do now because we use our solar plexus more than our hearts. Is that accurate?
Well, I would say that, I have to look at each individual, where they're at and what they're doing. I can't speak for one way, for general, for everyone. I have to look at each individual. Like Patricia, she spoke from her heart. So it depends where the person is at that moment. Are they being in their emotions? Are they wrapped up in their emotions? Are they in their head? Are they in their heart? It just depends on where people are at. It's their free choice where they want to be each day, each moment, We all have free will to choose where we want to be. I can't speak that everybody is one set way. Everybody is free and at their particular place in that moment, and anybody can change every moment. That's the beauty of life, the joy, the bliss. When we have the choice to have that opportunity to change, and that's why I'm hoping that I'm happy to help anyone who wants to learn new tools to open up and be in their best place they can ever be.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that, and you obviously are on a mission to help people. One thing I do want to talk about, we have just about 7.5 minutes left. You said the whole thing about popcorn earlier, about how you what you do with it and all to enhance your spirituality. Do you, by the way, warm your popcorn up in the microwave? Because microwaves, they say you try to cook microwave food as little as possible, and I wonder if that ties into the EMF stuff that you talked about earlier. So do you advocate or not advocate using microwaves?
Chicka-boom pop, Costco. It's popcorn in a bag. It's already popped. It's organic. You don't have to do any of that microwave stuff. It's a huge bag, and it's fresh, and it's organic, and it's only $4-something. Good old Costco, right? So you don't have to put it in the microwave. It's already there. It's a popcorn.
And as everybody knows, microwaves are emitting EMFs like crazy. So we avoid the microwave like the plague.
Yes. But we put the Orgone on top of it just so it's there in the kitchen. We have one on our TV in 4 corners, as I mentioned, in our home and office. And John wears his pendant all the time, even in bed.
Yeah, when I go to sleep, I put seeds on my heart, because Andrew Bartzis once said in order to make the most of dream time, you might want to put seeds on your heart chakra when you're sleeping. Can you maybe comment on that, by the way?
What do you put on your heart? I'm sorry?
Seeds.
Andrew?
Seeds.
Did you...
like food seeds, organic food seeds on your heart. It'll help you.
Seeds.
Dream time,
really?
yes.
What
do you know anything about that?
Seeds?
Oh, it varies. I just have seeds that will last for like 5 years and longer, refrigerated, and alternate every so often, putting them on my heart. Can you say that that'll help you in dream time?
This is what I'm getting from Spirit. Isn't this interesting? Seeds. Think about it, Andrew. Seeds is a very symbolic purpose in your passion here on this earth. You actually plant seeds on your radio program, and it's in your heart.
And what do you mean by plant seeds?
That grow and bloom for everyone to see and hear and know.
Oh.
These are the seeds you plant, but you put it on your heart. So your heart is speaking your true passion about the seeds you plant in your show to grow and bloom. Beautiful, Andrew.
Glad you
didn't know you were putting seeds on your heart and what it really symbolized, right?
Right. Well, how about that? Yes.
Now, let me ask you this, Andrew. What type of seeds are they?
Lettuce and onion so far. I'm going to alternate some more. I started this recently, but I'm going to try to, I guess, alternate different seeds over the course of time. They're just food seeds. They came with the company Mike Patriot Supply. Bought some seeds there.
Good, then do this. I have a suggestion for you, if I may share. Look up what does lettuce honor us with? What does the onions honor us with? I know onions detox our system. They're very powerful, pungent, vegetables. But look up lettuce. Lettuce needs a lot of sunlight, the greener, the darker leaves. So look those up. See what the symbolism means. You're actually putting that on your body. Your body's talking to you, Andrew. It's saying, you think it's a gift, but yes, and thank you, but it has a meaning. Things happen in life, right? So those particular seeds they gave you is Spirit talking to you and saying, here, I'm going to give you, Spirit can be funny. And Sai Baba is the funniest guy I've ever met in my life. He's constantly in humor. I would never waste my time on any nonsense energy person or guide that is any less than beauty and love and light, because that's my purpose, and I can sense it out in a second. So here is someone who brought you the seeds. As Spirit tells you, these seeds symbolically are your message that you plant and grow with the universe and the world. And so look up what those seeds mean. And that's Mother Earth talking to you too. And here you so graciously put it right on your heart. Isn't that interesting? It's your heart chakra too.
Yes. Well, I guess it would help you during dream time to do that.
It's your heart speaking to you. Think about it. Maybe you shouldn't think about it, because when we think about it, we get in our way. But just kind of observe. It's better that we're in an observant perspective. Just observe. Observe the things that you do. You put the seeds on your heart at night, and it's like you're putting your passion of symbolism on your heart. Your heart is actually talking to you. Your heart is talking to you as well as your soul and spirit.
Well,
now, Spirit wants you to plant those seeds. Are you going to do a garden coming up in spring, Andrew?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yes.
Yay!
I'm not really a flower gardener, more of a food gardener.
You don't have to be. You could, and it's okay if anybody's a flower gardener. But what kind of garden are you going to have this spring?
Vegetable garden.
Good. That is awesome. And Mother Earth is talking to you.
I'm sure she is, and I try to show her.
And your soul.
Oh, yeah, I talk to Mother Earth all the time whenever I'm meditating or thanking my guardian angels and spirit guides and Mother Earth to guide me. So, I try to keep in touch with Mother Earth, even pick up litter when I'm walking down the street. I feel that's an obligation to help Mother Earth.
That's nice, and thank you for sharing that, because, that just reminds us. And thank you for sharing that. When we're out and about, I always see John picking up, we're taking nature walks, John's go, wait a minute, let me get this. And he'll pick up all this little garbage. And we put it in the garbage pan.
Well, Mother Earth must love you for that. Well, by the way, I regret to inform you that we got to bring this show to a close. We're running out of time here, but this was very informative in terms of spiritual stuff. John, I hope you don't feel bad about the fact that Prema did a lot of the talking, but I'm glad you suggested her, because we learned a lot from this show. But with that being said, I might as well tell you the same thing I tell all my guests. One of my goals with this show is to try to get as many different people on the show as possible before I start giving any one specific guest double dips. So even though you two are fascinating individuals and you've inspired me to look into Orgone, among other things, I regret to inform you that as part of my mission to get different people on, I probably will not be calling you again to come on the show, because I am on, like I said, a mission to get lots of other fascinating individuals on this show, and I want to make the most of that, because a lot of people deserve some glory on this show. But it was a pleasure having you on. I will definitely make sure this show gets uploaded to YouTube so that more people see it. And if you ever at another conference in the Philadelphia area, if it's a spirituality and metaphysics or UFO conference, I'll probably be there, and I hope maybe I'll see you there as well.
Thank you so much, Andrew, for this opportunity and honor. We appreciate you, but you got to let us know how that garden grows.
All right. I'll keep in touch with you, I guess, on that.
Many blessings to you, Andrew.
Bye.
Many blessings to you as well. Take care. Namaste. Later.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Folks, that was a very awesome, very spiritually enlightening show. And next week we are going to have a very alien show. Alien as in foreign, as in like extraterrestrial. Yeah, Ray Kusalandic will be the guest on the show. He's an ET contactee. In an interview he did with Alfred Weber, talked all about different extraterrestrial races that he has kept in contact with, both good and bad. He has his own slideshow of aliens, and I encourage you all to watch that interview with Alfred Weber that he did on Alfred Weber's YouTube channel. Alfred Lebermont Weber is the name of the YouTube channel. And we'll cover some things he didn't discuss in that episode and learn all about life from an ET contactee's perspective and what the ETs have to share with us and what ETs are like. So, extraterrestrial alien extravaganza of sorts with Ray Kusalandic next week. Until then, namaste.